Hey there, this is Matt with State of Flux, continuing my look back at the MCU on the road to Avengers Doomsday. This time we are looking at Ant-Man and the Wasp, which I think kicks off a sort of 5-movie quest to get to the end of Endgame. I know it came out kind of in tandem with Infinity War, but I actually put it ahead because I think Doctor Strange, Thor Ragnarok, Infinity War, Endgame kind of make for a nice, tight, solid quartet. So I put this one here. It's still kind of softly connected to the post-events of Civil War, and only tangentially kind of connected to the larger Infinity Saga. In a lot of ways, I think that Ant-Man and the Wasp is kind of a better movie, or more entertaining movie, than the first Ant-Man. It has many more laughs, a lot of them land a little harder, it has a good attitude, a strong sense of emotional drama, and the pivot to focusing on the Wasp characters, both the Wasp women, is really kind of smart. Evangeline Lilly is a fantastic actress, and she actually gets more to do here, as does Michelle Pfeiffer, who is finally introduced as the original Wasp, and I really appreciated her story, the quest to find her. The biggest issue with this film, and why I don't think it necessarily is quite as strong as the first Ant-Man, is that there is no clearly defined villain here. Yes, we have Ghost, who's kind of very forefront, traditional style villain, but she's a little more interesting and complex than you would give the film like this credit for. And you have a Walton, Goggins, and a Laurence Fishburne that sort of act in villainous capacities as well. None of these things really necessarily gel. So it makes a film that is already kind of low stakes feel kind of pointless when it's surrounded by other films that came out around the same time that have so much more going on and so much of a stronger impact in the stories that are unfolding that it's hard to squeeze this one in kind of anywhere in a rewatch of the MCU. And so that's kind of why I squeeze it after a soft little appetizer or post-palate cleanser from Guardians 2, and before we get into the meeting Doctor Strange finally, all the ramifications to be dealt with during Thor, and the conclusion to the Infinity Saga with an Infinity War and Endgame. Paul Rudd is still kind of the highlight. Michael Pena is fantastic. And the movie as a whole, I think, is good. It's not one of the best of the MCU outings, but it's on par with that first Ant-Man. You'll have a good time. It has a good sense of humor. You will be entertained. And I like it. But there's not a whole lot to say about it either. And they also kind of they developed an interesting character with Ghost, but then they didn't spend any time with her afterwards for another 5 years to see any kind of payoff. I think it was even 6 years with that character. So that was also kind of a letdown. What do you think of Ant-Man and the Wasp? I know I'm a little harsher on these movies than a lot of people. A lot of people really like the Ant-Man franchise, and I think even if you watch my first Ant-Man review, it's my least favorite of the Marvel franchises, and it's disappointing because I love Paul Rudd. I love how he plays this character. I love his relationship with his child, which is capitalized pretty well on in this film. All of that stuff works. It's just his movies are just kind of blah. You have a first one that's just essentially Iron Man again, but a much lesser version of that, and then you have this one with no clearly defined stakes, no clearly defined villain, no clearly defined anything. Their big object is to reclaim Hope Van Dyne, or Janet Van Dyne, and that's it. And that's good, but it's I want more, especially when you're inserted between and wedged between so many huger films. Like this film coming out right after Infinity War. The first time I saw it, I was pretty let down with the film. But yeah, my daughter liked it. She liked it better than the first Ant-Man. You might remember she didn't like the first Ant-Man movie. She liked this movie. She liked the Wasp. She was invested emotionally in the Hank Pym, Jan Van Dyne story and whatnot. And she was baffled by the conclusion. Obviously, she doesn't know what happens in Infinity War or Endgame, but when they disappeared and he's stuck, she was like, what happened? And I was like, we're going to have to find out. This will make sense in time. And she was like, I'm intrigued. So that's that was kind of cool. What did you think of Ant-Man and the Wasp? Let me know in the commentary down below. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Peace.